Let's get sweaty.
We just need to keep making noise, and I'm going to air a frustration actually now because I have to, because I saw this earlier. What gets on my nerves is people post about playing Shenmue 3 for the first time, and the same people start moaning about it. I'm not being funny, right? Whether you love Shenmue 3 or not, and I accept its faults, whether you love it or not, get the fuck over it and decide whether you want to support Shenmue 4 or not. Because if you don't, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But don't sit there bleating on about something that you cannot change, be it for the good, that people enjoyed it, or the people who didn't. It's not going to fucking change. Get over it and decide what you're going to do. Are you going to support a Shenmue 4 or not? That is the question, because we need to be as vocal and united around this message as possible. Because if we're not, we are never, ever going to get it. And it's that simple. But if we unite and actually make a point of going, right, 3's in the books, we're done, let's go. Because it's doing my fucking head in. It really is.
It does. It's aggravating, actually, when... Say you do a video, you're talking about what would take for a Shenmue 4 to happen or whatever, and you're getting replies in the comments instantly like, or face the, smell the coffee or whatever, Shenmue's dead or whatever. You always get those sort of people that keep coming back. Why are they so interested in Shenmue content if they're supposedly done with the series? Just go away. Do you know what I mean? Like, why do you keep coming back to every video to comment? Shenmue's a dead game. Get over it. Shenmue 4 has never happened. Why have you got these empty sort of comments? I know that's the internet after all, but you put a tweet out, like a nice positive tweet, or like yesterday, let's get Shenmue 4, and then you got some people just comment, I don't think Shenmue 4 is going to happen, guys. But why are you saying that? Why are you publicly writing that in the first place? Who said that it can't happen?
I have no problem. It sounds like I have a problem with people expressing an opinion, and I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem is there's a certain element of this community, I can't speak for everybody, that are so fixated on 3, good or bad, that actually it's doing more harm than good now. And that's the problem. I don't mind people who've never come across the content before going, Shenmue 4 ain't going to happen. I don't mind discussing why I think it can and will continue to do so, because actually I think the more discussion there is around it, the more people will come on board and more content that's out there, and it's a positive thing. It's just the way it is, and it's the way the internet is, and I completely accept that. But I get so frustrated with it that people are so fixated on something you can't change. But we can change Shenmue 4. We can change the path. We can change the trajectory. And if we unite, we have absolutely every chance of doing so. But if we don't, then we've had it. We've absolutely had it.
Look at things all across the world. When so many people get involved, it changes opinions. It changes... Things happen because so many people are backing something to happen. I don't want to get into politics or whatever, but everything that people are like annoyed at or something, if they all gang together, and obviously if they do it in the best way, not like rioting or whatever, but
that's
do you know what I mean?
I'm going to go set fire to a building now.
if there's a combined effort for like a positive change, if so many people are behind it that it can't be ignored, then, changes happen, don't they?
Exactly.
You see changes happen in other departments and stuff. But getting the same people, and I saw what Scotty said, like at least some interaction in Shenmue is still a positive. But if those same people, instead of saying like, oh, Shenmue's a dead game, just change the message to like, I would hope to see a Shenmue 4 one day, I'm behind it as well. It's the positivity behind what the person's writing that the more that Sega or whoever see these messages or stumble across them are more likely to agree then, right?
Well, you'd hope so.
Rather than the opposite.
They may not hire the dojo anymore after I've swore about 87 times in a brief rant, but it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, we just do need to unite behind it. And I have no problem with people expressing it. I have no problem with it's the internet. You're free to, it's free speech at the end of the day. But as a community, we need to get over that point now and unite behind it. Because if we don't, we aren't going to get Shenmue 4. It is really that simple. And it just doesn't create a good impression for a publisher. It doesn't create a good impression for anybody that you've got a divided community. And I don't mind. There should be reasonable balance, as Paz UK is saying, which I absolutely get. And we try to bring a balanced argument. We're a Shenmue fan site, so there's going to be a degree of bias. Let's not beat around the bush about it. There is going to be a degree of bias, but we try to balance things out. We recognise the faults of Shenmue 3. Absolutely recognise the faults of Shenmue 3. James and I literally did a show, Shenmue 3 Room 101, where we turned around and would bin off half the mechanics in that game because we weren't happy with them. But it doesn't mean we didn't enjoy it, and it doesn't mean we haven't moved on. That's, it is what it is. Unite behind.
You cannot play Shenmue 3 and think it's the worst game you've ever played. It's just impossible. Because it's clearly not. It's a great, it's the definition of a 7 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
And I just find it amazing that so many people are so against the game as a whole. Like, it's what even the like Matt says there, the Room 101 thing. We pretty much went through every feature of that game, what we'd keep and what we'd bin, and this stuff that are so good in the game that I don't even know if these people that are moaning about it have experienced. How far have they got in the game for them to have these opinions and stuff like that? You've got the Chobu-chan aspect, and I know there's what is there, 130 Chobu-chans across
Something
the whole
like
thing.
You should know. You're doing
that
it for
in
Shenmue World
itself,
Issue 3.
Yeah. But that in itself is a game. You know what I mean? Just that one little concept, whether or not you could class it as a mini game or not. But there's enough content in that 130 Chobu-chan going around the stores for it to be its own standalone game. And, and then you've got the rest of Shenmue 3 as well on top of that. So there's so much in it. It's literally, and we've said it a million times, just the story could have been better. But if everyone that's calling Shenmue 3 the worst game they've ever played, or, my life ended when I played Shenmue 3, whatever the quote is, that guy. I just don't get along with that, because there's no way, if you play video games and you enjoy video games and you fire up a Shenmue 3 and you play 10 hours of it and you were a Shenmue fan before, there's no way you can say it's the worst game ever made, or whatever people are saying, because it deserves more credit, deserves more respect than what it did get. And again, that's not just our bias, because we are slightly biased, but it just doesn't make sense.
We've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I found watching YouTube.
It's frustrating.
And I've gone on a bit of a rant, but I find that a lot of newer fans are a bit more lenient with 3, actually. Yeah. Whereas I think there was a way of we talked about this to death around the expectation around 3, but I take what Reynolds is saying is a very good point. If Shenmue 4 nails it, and it absolutely has to, it cannot do what Shenmue 3 did. If it does that, we are 100% fucked. We are done. That will be the end of it. But if Shenmue 4's story smashes it, nobody will give a shit about what Shenmue 3 was, and all those people will come running back. Believe me.